Yes, everyone, good morning. Welcome back to Forever United TV, your daily Manchester United updates coming this morning, the 17th of July, over halfway through July now, and over halfway through the transfer window. Where are United at? I've got all of your updates this morning, jam-packed into this show. We're talking SANCHO, we're talking Rashford and Mbeumo Garnacho, we're talking the links to Ollie Watkins again. Where's that one come from? More on that. Updates on current playing staff at Manchester United as well, who now won't be going on loan as first thoughts. I think you can guess who that actually might be, but we'll talk about that as it goes as well. Interesting update from Romano last night. What we're going to talk about that predominantly on Garnacho, but we'll update you on everything else. We're going to start with Jadon Sancho and Marcus Rashford. Are the Freedom Fighter boys both about to exit for the same club? Ooh, we'll talk about Rashford in a minute. Potential move to Juventus. Where did that one come from? But first of all, the one deal that now, and I've got to be careful when I say this, now looks very close. Nearly every single journalist, particularly the Italian ones, again, I know, has come out with something regarding Jadon Sancho over the last 24 hours. And indeed, Alfredo Padula has gone as far as to say, in the next 24 hours, this deal is going to be finalised. So you search around, you see who else is talking about it, you see other reports. Damasio, in fact, has said it also. The only thing that's stopping me feel confident, actually, I don't even know if this is, because this is the thing that's come from Romano. I actually think that this is actually okay in a way. I'm trying to decide, and you tell me what you think about this, but Benfica have given Juventus a bit more time to conclude and finish the deal for Francesco Conceição, the other winger that Juventus are going for alongside Jadon Sancho. That's the update on Romano. No drama there, he said, though. I don't even think that even when Conceição signs, it's going to be a problem. They have always looked to be bringing in two forwards in the wide positions, Jadon Sancho being one, Conceição the other. Everyone has just said the main priority was Francesco Conceição, and that has now that looks like it's completely done. Just giving a little bit more time. No drama, no issue at all, says Romano on that one. So that's going to be concluded. That's over 30 million euros. When it comes to Manchester United and Jadon Sancho, there are multiple reports now coming out on this. And when we look at what's actually been said, let's just go through the early morning stuff this morning already. So straight off the bat, you've got Alfredo Padula, who has come out and said what he has last night, which is that personal terms are agreed with Jadon Sancho. His agent was in Turin yesterday to discuss the deal. It is thought that conversations between United and Juventus were going on strong last night. We heard the reported 15 million euro bid that was coming in. We heard that was going to be the mark that actually got this deal done. We don't know yet because we don't know if United have accepted that. So in terms of, like we said last night, Jadon Sancho and Juventus looking very, very strong. Let's just read through some of these reports this morning. Manchester United and Juventus aim to finalise Jadon Sancho transfer within the next 24 hours. Jadon Sancho's move to Juventus is edging closer, and the club is also keeping an eye on Marcus Rashford as a potential attacking option. That was Damasio. We'll talk about that in a moment as well, and everything that's come from that one. But whichever way Manchester United go with this now, I think it is down to them and what they want to do with the actual bid that's in for Jadon Sancho. They're the reports that are going around right now. Nicolas Shearer has also come out and said this morning that this deal is now on the brink of being completed. Wages, everything in completion on Jadon Sancho's side of things. So this is going to be a very interesting day for Jadon Sancho. Some other reports coming up here. This is the Nicolas Shearer one. Said Jadon Sancho is one step away from Juventus. After leaving Manchester United. Agreed personal terms between the winger and Juve, which are now in advanced talks with Manchester United to try and reach an agreement. There is more reports actually coming out saying regarding Jadon Sancho, it is 15 million euros plus add-ons for Jadon Sancho. That's one report that has come out also. And again, 15 million plus add-ons. I think it's Manchester United pretty much breaking even with the whole transfer saga and all of Jadon Sancho's time at Manchester United. Good riddance. All we're waiting for is Romano to come out now and just finalise this. like I said, Damasio used to have some clout in the transfer world. He has drifted off, in my opinion. I've said this before. And with Jadon Sancho, I am optimistic that this will get done because of the amount of journalists reporting it, but we're still waiting for the big one. So, where I am confident, again, and I'm sure we've had this conversation, deja vu creeping right in now with me on this one. Many a times we've said that Jadon Sancho looks close, but then we said Conceição's got in the way. This is why I feel a little bit more comfortable now, because the talks have intensified even after Juve have signed Conceição, and no one has shut this down. I think even if Romano says it's just talks at the moment and nothing is definitely close, it does feel like Jadon Sancho is now fully on board with the package that's been offered to him by Juventus, and this is now moving close. I think Juventus and Manchester United will get an agreement in place. This has never seemed to have been the issue within this deal or in the talks with Jadon Sancho's transfer to Juventus. The fact that United and Juventus have always been pretty straight on down the line, I think, and understanding where we're at. United want a certain amount, Juventus have had to drop it. This may be because of Jadon Sancho's wage demands and United just needing to get things moving in their own transfer window now in terms of players in. Just getting him off the books is massive for Manchester United. At the end of the day, look, Jadon Sancho can rinse Manchester United and just say, I'm not going anywhere. Send me out on loan if you don't want me at the football club playing for Ruben Amorim and pay my wages. I think Manchester United, with that report on the severance pay and where we're at with Jadon Sancho, and then obviously a new agreement with Juve and the price dropping with Manchester United, everything seems to be coming together. And I think we're just waiting for the big here we go now on this, or are we? Now that's where Manchester United are at right now, I think, in terms of this deal. They're happy that Jadon has actually found the club and he's agreeing personal terms, and now obviously it's up to them. The ball is in Manchester United's court for the first time in this transfer. That's the big difference in this. If all these reports are right, it's Manchester United now that hold the cards, because they're the ones that can negotiate with Juventus in terms of the price. And I think United are open on this one, just to get the man out of the door. This will be a big moment for Manchester United. Again, I've said this before, but still, when you look at Jadon Sancho leaving, that does feel like a turning of the page for this club, and we can move forward from this point. So they're the reports that are going around. Some saying 24 hours, 15 million euros plus add-ons for this deal, 50 million pound plus add-ons for this deal for Jadon Sancho between them and United. His agent was in Turin yesterday discussing everything, and it does look like now, after weeks of conversations and discussions on the personal terms and the transfer, it looks like Jadon Sancho to Juventus is literally on the brink now. But there's a side act to this, and Damasio was the one that dropped it. So you heard me mention it then. And Damasio talking about Jadon Sancho being very close. He has been the one that has said that Jadon Sancho is in talks, but Conceição is more important. Now that's been done, and like I said a minute ago, United still getting, we're still getting reports that Manchester United and Juventus are getting closer to a deal with Sancho. After the Conceição news gives us confidence. It was Damasio that would run this story constantly from the start, and he has been the one that has kept everybody on the level playing field, I think, with it. It's that Sancho is wanted, but there is other targets before him and other work to do in terms of moving players out. It does look like Juventus are doing well in moving players out and getting the deal done for Conceição. So now, Manchester United, with that in place, are expecting, according to Damasio, another offer. And it's not for Sancho, it's for his partner in crime, Marcus Rashford. Now, this, again, I am nowhere near as confident on it. I think it's important to bring up because Juventus obviously are in the Champions League. Juventus are a big club. If Jadon Sancho is going there is some kind of lure there for Marcus Rashford also in moving to Juventus. So I feel like this, I don't think it's, I never say never, like I've said before, but you can hear it in my voice, can't you? The uncertainty that this might actually be genuine. Now, it's come from Damasio, and I said, like, I respect him for what he's done in the past, but he has drifted away in terms of the transfer news in being correct over the last couple of years, I feel. Romano, obviously, is the main man on this. Nothing from him yet at all. Rashford wants Barcelona. Rashford is interested in the Bayern Munich move, but Bayern are tied up with Luis Diaz. If Luis Diaz doesn't sign, Juventus, obviously, Bayern Munich have not had a bid accepted. Liverpool want upwards of 85 million quid for Diaz. They don't want to sell him. I can't see Bayern Munich going for that. So this is where I feel like Marcus Rashford will look to Barcelona. It will probably be a loan. That's where he wants to go. And Bayern Munich are next in line for this. Unless Juventus come in and blow Manchester United away with some kind of offer for Marcus Rashford and play him in a central role and play him in the same team as his mate. I don't know. I'm putting it together and I'm only reading the report from Damasio on this one. But again, just the reality of what has happened this summer already. Rashford, Barcelona, it keeps going back to Barcelona constantly all of the time. I think he's edging towards that. I think reality is that if nothing gets sorted, I think this month we may get some more news regarding, first, I think Bayern Munich, second, Juventus. He wanted to have Champions League football. Done. Playing at one of the top leagues in Europe, done. Can Juventus afford Marcus Rashford's wages? That's the problem. Again, it would always be the problem, wouldn't it? Are Juventus indeed, with this, coming in with a loan offer to Manchester United for Marcus Rashford? Let's not forget, Juventus have been linked with Rasmus Højlund and with Joshua Zirkzee, and we're prepared to offer loans with obligations / options to buy. If Juventus are coming in for Marcus Rashford, again, maybe they've just cottoned on to the fact that United are open to do a loan with Marcus Rashford, and they're going to chance their arm in completely changing up their whole front line. Because they're looking to move Vlahovic on, obviously. That will make way for some big wages to come into Juventus. Or not big wages to come in, but spread out the cost of the wages, because that's a massive wage that Vlahovic is on there at Juventus. And him out of the door means that Juventus can obviously negotiate better deals with personal terms with other players coming in. It gives them a lot of financial fair play freedom as well, with him being on over 350 grand a week in wages, in euros that is. So again, room there for them to play with. Maybe they go in with a loan offer for Marcus Rashford. There is no real detail on it. There is no real information as to what's involved in it. They are now investing an interest into Marcus Rashford, and I think that's where we take it. I think that's how we look at it right now. They have tested the waters, and obviously Manchester United are in a position right now where they're open to anybody coming in for Marcus Rashford. In fact, Juventus, this is come from Sky Sports Italy as well on this. This will be off the back of Damasio, because Damasio does work for Sky Sports Italy as well, just so I'm sure you all know that already, but just in case you didn't. So whenever you see Sky reporting anything from Germany or Italy, it will be Florian Plettenberg's quotes from Germany. It will be Damasio's quotes from Italy. So if Sky Sports say anything along the lines like they have done here, Juventus are interested in Marcus Rashford, according to Sky Italy. They have begun to explore the conditions of a potential deal for the Manchester United forward. That pretty much says everything that I have just been saying there, in that they're exploring the conditions. They're looking at the loan. I'm telling you right now, no one is going to buy Marcus Rashford this summer, I don't think. They're looking at the loan for him, and I think Rashford knows this as well, that this is his best option in getting out of Manchester United for another season. A loan with an obligation, something like that, is ideal, I think, for Manchester United now. And I think the reality is starting to creep in, which is why I think other clubs are actually starting to invest interest in him. We've got to this stage where we are halfway through this 3-month transfer window now. So we're well into it. And of course, there has been nothing concrete on the table for Marcus Rashford. I think United are understanding, and obviously now Marcus Rashford is understanding. And I said this the other day, I think the reality of training on his own, away from everybody with no club, might actually be hitting home right now. And it's time to start getting things moving along. And Marcus Rashford will be open to other options. I've heard a few stories going around that he would be open if they can't get a deal with Barcelona to another top European club, but it has to be someone who's challenging and someone who's playing in the Champions League. Yeah, I've given up on going in on ridiculous demands for a player that really doesn't warrant playing in the Champions League, but look, that's what he wants and that's where he thinks he's at. Of course, Barca, Bayern and Juventus all in the Champions League next season, so we've got no real issue to go in on that at all. But again, it's, I think, because of the time and where we're at in this window, pre-season's about to start. He's not going to be playing any games I think he's starting to actually come home right now to Marcus Rashford, and he's getting that dose of reality that I think United were planning he was going to get. Like Ruben said, get these players out before we come back on the 7th of July. They're not out, so he's isolated them again. He's doing his bit as a manager and a coach here right now. He's telling the board, make something happen. Maybe this was planned if nothing had happened already. Maybe this was in the plan with Man United, that if they came back, there was no chance they were going to come back. Maybe this would push them even more, thinking they could just waltz back into Carrington and everything start again, like it did last season with Rashford and Sancho, obviously. And then Sancho was sold right at the end of the window. Maybe this move for Manchester United is an acceptance that nobody wants them. Let's make them now try and move things along. I think this is where we're actually at. I think this is definitely where Jadon Sancho is at, because he's got no hope at all. Rashford has got a little bit of credit in the bank, and so too has Garnacho. But Sancho, having had a club pay $5 million to get rid of him, he's in a difficult spot, which is why Sancho, I think, is right at the top of the hopeometer, let's call it, of these players leaving Manchester United. I should put that up on the screen, shouldn't I? The hopeometer of Manchester United players exiting Old Trafford. God, Sancho and Rashford, the freedom fighters. The day that I don't have to put them two on a thumbnail is the day that I feel Manchester United are really turning a corner. Because we're constantly talking about them. We're forever in a day going in on these players having issues at this football club and problems behind the scene, petulance on the pitch, everything that we talk about that's related to these players. When that's gone, what do we bleeding talk about? We talk about football, a normal football club. And these two players are massive for Manchester United moving forward. I can't say it enough. Once they're done, and I will know, as soon as I'm not talking about these players, as soon as I'm not relating them to anything Manchester United at all, that will be a day that I actually feel something's changing. But until that day comes, you're still going to have that feeling in the back of your head that this football club is screwed. Because these players have got such a grip on it, and they know they have the power, and the agents know they've got the power over Manchester United. That, I think, is the biggest moment in this transfer window. If we can get rid of... If Sancho goes on a permanent, that is a massive win for United. Rashford on loan, maybe with an obligation, I'm taking that as a win also. And then everything else past that, I think, should fall into place. We heard the stories about Manchester United now bidding off interest from Betis, unless they come in with a realistic bid, and putting a $50 million price tag on Anthony's head. Absolutely love that. So maybe there is change coming. Maybe I'm getting a little bit too optimistic with everything that's happening right now, but still. Look, the stories and the talk on Jadon Sancho are genuine. They are real. We have got multiple people talking about it now, and it does feel like it is round the corner. We just set a poll up right now. How many of the 5 unwanted players will be sold or loaned this window? 1 to 2, 3 to 4, all of them. This is a very tight poll looking at the early knockings in this one. Get voting on that one, everybody. We'll let that run out through the show, and obviously we'll come back to you with the results later on as well. So, yes, just checking up on any news that's coming out on all of the freedom fighters and the Fantastic Five. Stephen Railsford of the MEN has just come out with a tweet I've just seen now saying Marcus Rashford, Alejandro Garnacho, Anthony Jadon Sancho and Tyrell Malacia all reported to Carrington yesterday afternoon. Of course you did. Let's not forget you are a professional footballer. So, yeah, all the players now back in. And again, like I said a moment ago, I think this is the reality that is hitting these players now. And we are hopefully going to see them and their agents try to start doing something themselves and getting deals out of this bleeding football club. And see you later. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Okay. Let's get some comments in on this one. Let's see what we've got here in this. I think it's good. I think it's too good to be true, Adam. Like you have said, it's a World Cup year, so threaten them by sticking them on the side and no game time. Yeah, they all want to play. Garnacho is thinking right now, shit. Like, Argentina have told me that I need to be playing here, or here. And we are now in a position where I've got no one. I'm not playing pre-season. The first internationals are coming up in September. I might not have a football club by the start of the season, and it could go all the way to the window ending September 1st, and that's the first international break. So as soon as September 1st hits, that's the last day. That's the last weekend of the. That's the last weekend of August. We then go on to September 1st. The window closes, and then the players go on international duty. That's Garnacho already in September, missing out on the first internationals. He has to be thinking, I've got to get into a team. I've got to be playing. This, I think, is United's push and the plan. The World Cup year has fallen into United's hands on this one and is our biggest play over all of these players, I think. So I think that's the big thing in this, the World Cup coming. Good point from the comments there on that one. Let's see what else we've got here. So as Romano, these days, he just guesses and certainly will one day get it right and claim it was his breaking news. I remember all of the takeover news, end of someone not believing in Romano there on that one. Just quickly getting through a few more. Carl says, I can't... sorry. Just gone off my screen now. Sorry about that, mate. I can't wait for Rashford and Sancho to be gone. Absolutely sick of them and talking about them. Club needs to just take a hit and get them out. We've been saying that forever, haven't we? So it seems like we've been saying that forever. Jim says, I can see Rashford going on loan, but not with obligation. If he does, it will be a bonus. Yeah, I mean, maybe if Marcus Rashford's got some form of stipulation into the obligation... Plenty of shuns in that sentence there, wasn't there? But by that, I mean, if Rashford hit 20 goals, the obligation kicks in. If he played a certain amount of games, if the club finished somewhere near winning a certain trophy or in a position in the league, wherever he goes, like all of that can be put in. Is someone willing to take that chance? And again, I put this back onto Marcus Rashford quickly before we move on. If you're going to Barcelona, and this is the dream move, and you would have heard me say this before, this is where it makes no sense to me whatsoever in the thinking behind Marcus Rashford and especially his representation. Your dream move to Barcelona, they only want you for loan, then want to bin you off again next season. So your dream move is to a club that wants to show no commitment to keeping you at the club. How the hell can that be your dream move? Think about it. Seriously, I don't get it. I don't get it. And that's why I've always got a problem with Marcus Rashford's representatives. They need to be advising him better. Right, enough of that lemon and that other lemon, the freedom fighters. Let's get on to more important matters. Let's quickly update you on Bryan Mbeumo. You will see many people tweeting out this morning what we said last night. I messaged Jamie Jackson of The Guardian, and a lot of people this morning are re-quoting him on what he was saying on the Bryan Mbeumo situation. If you didn't see the video last night, the live show, the truth about what happened with Bryan Mbeumo or what is going to come out. These are just reports, by the way. I'm not saying these are definite, but there is a few journalists actually coming out yesterday saying that Brentford moved the goalpost after United were about to seal a deal. United were ready to meet that 65 all-in price like was reported, and then Brentford clicked, no, we want more. So that's why the Bryan Mbeumo deal did not get done. We said something happened behind the scenes. We said there was something going on that didn't add up, and it does look like that. And there were multiple reports coming out again this morning on this, mainly quoting what Jamie Jackson from The Guardian said last night, that several £million that David Ornstein said was the difference and was miles apart between United and Brentford in terms of their valuations and pricing of Mbeumo. This now looks like it's because Brentford just said 70 million now. All of a sudden, I honestly again, I'm not going to go into it too much, but that is what has been talked about again this morning. The Brentford upping of the price for Bryan Mbeumo is why this deal has stalled. It wasn't so much what Lucas said with the new manager coming in and Frank leaving. There's still negotiations were going on at that point, so it wasn't even important. Thank you for the gifted member, Tom. You absolute legend, mates. Appreciate that, my man. And again, like we said it all last night, I think it's quite clear that something has gone on behind the scenes in this deal, and United are standing their ground. And I've listened to a few people now in terms of where this is at and what they think is going to happen. Listen to Simon Jordan on TalkSport as well. He reckons this deal, like I think most of us, will be somewhere in the middle. Like Brentford are going to have to accept that they're not going to get their top line, or United are going to walk away and they're going to lose money off this asset. So I think United are hoping that Bryan Mbeumo does kick up a stink. But off the back of all of that talk yesterday as well, there were multiple journalists coming out. Simon Stone came out, Jamie Jackson also, TalkSport were talking about it, and all their journalists as well. Samuel Luckhurst, Pete Hall, everybody who's related or linked to Manchester United in some way are saying that they want him on the tour. So the clock is ticking on Bryan Mbeumo. And what happens from here now is going to be very interesting, because Ornstein said we're miles away. We now know why we're miles away on this vote, on this bid. But everyone's saying that United are making efforts, including Fabrizio Romano, to make this deal happen in time for him to be on the US tour. By the way, we leave for the US tour in 5 days. So there's your clock. There's your deadline for this deal happening with Bryan Mbeumo. Like we said last night, let's just see what happens from that now. Moving forward onto what Romano said about Garnacho last night. Now, we just touched on Garnacho there. He's back in training, obviously, at Carrington, along with the other Fantastic Five. But Romano's talks on Alejandro Garnacho, quite simple, actually, in that he wants to be in and amongst it in the Premier League. Now, he needs to find the club, and find the club very, very quickly on this one. And this, I think, ultimately will be him going to what people are thinking is Chelsea. And Romano has alluded to the Chelsea one. Romano has said that he feels that the move on Garnacho, interest is still there. Another forward is wanted by Chelsea, and Garnacho is on that list. We heard about Chelsea yesterday. So we heard about Aston Villa yesterday, and everything that was going on with that potential loan move for Garnacho off the back of Emi Martinez. Let's see if we get any updates on this today. But in terms of Garnacho's move and where we're actually looking with this now, we're going down the road here, I think, and Romano has said this, and he alluded to it in his video last night. He's expecting talks in the coming days, very soon, for Garnacho. What does that mean? Who is that about? Chelsea keep on getting mentioned. And then everybody last night started to put Chelsea and Jackson together. Now, we spoke about Jackson yesterday morning. If United go for Nicholas Jackson, then the fan base will be in absolute... The fan base will be in uproar. Like, it will be one of them transfers where you actually question what Manchester United's thinking is. He is not the right player for Manchester United, and everybody knows this. And then everyone started talking about it a little bit on social media last night about the potential swap for Garnacho and Jackson. I don't think that is in the plans for Manchester United. It makes no sense at all, because Chelsea want more for Jackson than what Garnacho's worth. That, for United, is a no-go. United would probably be open to selling Garnacho to Chelsea, but not swapping him for anybody. The Nkunku and Jackson links, Chelsea are driving them, and that's what everybody's saying in the journalist world. It's coming from Chelsea's side. There is more of an interest in Nkunku and in Nicholas Jackson from Manchester United. Everyone's talking about it. Them reports are coming and the journalists are being told by Chelsea sources, not Manchester United. So, Manchester United fans, we can rest easy if that is the real situation there, because United do not want anything to do with Nicholas Jackson and Nkunku as their top main targets. And they're going to go nowhere near either of them players for the prices that Chelsea want for them. We just know this from what Romano has said. United will not spend massive amounts of money on a striker. Now, by that, I'm thinking like the 30 million mark for the likes of Liam Delap. That was the sort of price United were willing to pay. Chelsea want more than that for Nkunku, and more than that on top for Nicholas Jackson. I cannot see this moving at all in that direction. I really can't. And to be honest, I would probably expect Manchester United to be looking at other forward targets rather than Nicholas Jackson and Nkunku, because they are massive investments. I've said this and I tweeted it out last night. The more this window goes on, the more I'm thinking Manchester United are going to be looking to loan a striker. A lot of people have mentioned the possibilities and potential of someone like Gonzalo Ramos on loan from PSG if they don't want him. I think United are willing to wait till the last knockings of the window for the striker. I don't think they're in any position to move for one. I think there is movement in the goalkeeping situation. I think the priority is getting Mbeumo and the goalkeeper done, maybe now at this point, and then moving on to other targets after we get back from the tour. That's just my opinion on this, but from what I'm reading and what I'm looking at, I do think that Manchester United right now are prioritising getting Mbeumo over the line, obviously. Maybe this news about the story on Martinez is real and we're getting more and more come out from that like we reported yesterday, but Jadon Sancho out of the door, and then United are probably looking at resetting and looking what they've got. Because when Jadon Sancho is sold, Manchester United, if the reports are right on Sancho and that fee that United are supposedly taking on him is right, then United are up to around about 36 million, probably over 40 million if you add the Asia Tour, which we played right at the end of the season, in terms of money brought in so far from player sales, like sell-on clauses and so on that we spoke about. So United might just get Bryan Mbeumo in and then reset, look at it, right, what money have we got, what can we do? I just don't think the striker's out there that they want. I think, personally, they're not going to go. I think they would be interested in Vlahovic if that termination of his contract happens and he can be got on cheap wages. I think they would look at that because it's a free investment really for them. It's a player still in his mid-20s who could carry value. If you can get him for free, you will be able to sell him on in 3 years' time as well. So that is an actual investment for Manchester United, and they've got another striker in. So that, I think, might come about. You've got, obviously, the free agents. I don't even want to go there at the moment. And then you've got the loan market. Who can we get on loan? I think that's what's going to happen now with Manchester United in the striker hunt for things anyway. And the link with Garnacho and Chelsea may help that push forward. They may then, at the end of maybe the end of this month, when we come back from the tour, Garnacho might have been sold and United might have a bit more money and they could really go in for a striker then. One name that keeps on coming up and came up again, even after I actually said the other day that I don't think this will happen because of the price of it, is Ollie Watkins. That name has come up again, and it's come from Ollie Watkins' side of things, this time, because Ollie Watkins apparently would push for a move to Manchester United if they showed any interest at all. So, you know, when we talk about Bryan Mbeumo not kicking up a stink and United expecting something to happen from the players' side of things. So what happens with players' contracts? When they put a transfer request in, they lose all of their bonuses. It comes out. It's well known, it's common knowledge that if a player puts an official transfer request in, which is why I think the story about players putting transfer requests in at Manchester United out of them 5 players is bullshit. Because you can imagine them players wanting to actually give up on all of their bonuses, like contractual bonuses that they get, and a lot are included in their written contracts, are out of the window if they put a transfer request in. So this is where the clubs actually try and force the move to happen through the player. There may be a few more incentives from their part for the player after he's give up them original incentives from his former club. They will put them onto, or maybe put them into their contracts when they sign for their new club. But they are all null and void as soon as they put a transfer request in. So this is what Man United want Bryan Mbeumo to do. Is this what Ollie Watkins is prepared to do? Now, it has to be 100%, and this is why clubs always negotiate personal terms first of all. Unless there is a buyout clause in a player's contract, then they can go forward and deal with that with club to club first, then deal with the player later. They just have to know that the player is interested first of all, but club to club contacts. But they will always usually go to the player first because they need to know the player wants to move and they need to know that they can afford the player's wages. So if Man United do approach Ollie Watkins and they get that sign that he wants to move to Manchester United and he is willing to do the so-called extra bits, transfer request, try and make it look like he wants away, that then I think is when United would move. But it comes down to the price. That's the difference in this. That's why we spoke yesterday about Emi Martinez and Garnacho. If United give Villa Garnacho on loan, knowing that he could probably gain more value on loan for a season at Villa, does that give them that incentive to do a make-weight deal for Martinez? Would we be able to do the same in Ollie Watkins' scenario? on this one. That's what we're saying in this. Could there be any legs in that? Because according to all of the reports, Watkins would come to Manchester United. So that, I think, again, is an interesting one. I'm going to get into some of the comments on what people are saying on this now. Talk to me about everything that we've just spoken about there, everyone, because there is a lot to get through, including the Mbeumo, Garnacho, Watkins, would you take Jackson from Chelsea, all of that. Let's just quickly check our poll, which we've had over 1,100 votes on now. Get involved in this, please, everybody, if you can. How many of the unwanted 5 players will be sold or loaned out this window? 1 to 2, 3 to 4, or all of them? It is as close a poll we've had in a while. All of them, 31%. 3 to 4 of them, 32%. And 1 to 2 of them, 36%. Now, that just keeps on changing all of the time. So, all very, very close on that poll. I think all of them will go because they haven't got a spot at Manchester United. I don't think any of them are going to be sat waiting around because they know that Ruben Amorim won't bring them back in. Even if they're still part of Manchester United, I don't think Ruben will play them. So, again, I think that's why all of them will be out the door. Manny in the chat says, I'm going to leave now, folks. I can't stand to listen to Sancho and Rashford news. Wake up when they are gone. Have a great day, folks. And remember, good news is literally a day or so away. We could be a day or so away. Thanks for that, Manny. Manny, I think he's just been plucking the grey out. I'm not sure what that is. Have I jumped into a personal conversation there? Never mind if I have. But I think what he said there also is exactly what I said earlier on in the live show. Talking about Rashford and Sancho, it just depresses you and it feels like nothing's ever going to change at this football club, doesn't it? Until they're gone, I don't think anybody's really convinced that changes are coming. Manchester United finished 15th. Brentford finished a lot higher. Secondly, Brentford can activate their 1-year option and sell him next summer for the same price. No, mate, they won't be able to sell him for the same price. They know that for certain. The only reason they're trying to hold out now is because the player has had a good season and they know they've got that triggered 1-year extension. They won't be able to get anywhere near the same price for Bryan Mbeumo next summer. He will devalue him. He's a year older. He's only got the 1 year left. He probably would have, I don't think would have hit the same marks because it's a different manager. Different scenario. He might be, I'm guessing at this bit here, but his performances might have gone down. Look, there's no way. Even just looking at it contractually, he's never going to be the same price next summer, mate. So don't think that is something that will happen. And yes, Watkins, this is a trash signings, doesn't fit profile we need, led to believe Ineos were bringing. I'm just done. Watkins, Martinez, Jackson and Kunku Jackson. How has my club come to this? Well, you mentioned Jackson twice, mate. So, yeah, I would be with you on that one, Leon. Definitely, if we were signing Jackson twice. In terms of the profile of what Ineos want, an older player, I can see where you're going with that one. That would be interesting if they did change. But then again, you have to be adaptable. They're bringing in a lot of players. Maybe they do need to get back up there in the Champions League. And bringing in proven goal-scoring players like Ollie Watkins would help you get there. I don't know. Maybe we should take a little bit from this in thinking, oh, maybe Ineos are willing to change from their strict profile of player and their strict transfer plan. Maybe a bit of a pivot is good news because we are willing to think outside the box. We'll see, won't we, in time? Super chat in from Block says, sorry, Adam, we were discussing your eyebrows. All right, okay. Thank you very much, mate. I love that one. Personal personal comments and people paying too much attention, maybe. I don't know, mate. John D says that would you only take Watkins and Martinez if it was a combined price of around 40 million? It doesn't make sense. You're never going to get Martinez and Watkins for 40 million. Is that because you're thinking Garnacho's worth 40 million or something like that? Would only take Watkins and Martinez. They're never going to be that price. Why would you even think that that's realistic, John? It's not, mate. Come on, you know that that's not realistic, buddy. Goldstone says, Mbeumo staying at Brentford keeps them in the EPL more than covering the transfer difference. You can look at that if you want, but no club is going to want to do that. What about the season after? When he does it again and he leaves for free, and then eventually they're out. Look, no, I don't agree with anyone thinking that Mbeumo is more valuable in staying at Brentford. It's just not. It really isn't. So that's my opinion, and everyone's got their opinion on that as well. I get it. I get what you're saying, but I just don't believe in it. I don't. And in the club thinking about the actual value of a player and the asset they've got, this is the maximum they can take right now. And let's not forget, there's no Thomas Frank. No one's putting credit onto Thomas Frank for this right now. Maybe Mbeumo just wants out because the manager's gone. It's a fresh start. He's got a bigger move to Manchester United, and it is bigger. You can talk about where Brentford finished in the league all you want. Manchester United is always going to be a bigger transfer for these players. I just wanted to keep them comments coming in, by the way, everybody. Update you on everything that's happening in and around Manchester United currently at Carrington regarding some of the younger players. Diego Leon. Ruben Amorim is evaluating Diego Leon to determine if he remains with the first team or moves to the under-21s. He's not going on loan and will stay to adapt in English football. That's come from Mike Critchley from The Athletic. So any thought of Diego Leon actually moving on loan is not happening. He's staying at Manchester United, which is good news. Let's see if he does stay with the first team now. I think that's the next step for him. I would like it to be that way because it would give us a bit of a selection headache, and I'd be really intrigued to see what Ruben Amorim does. Looking forward to seeing him on tour. Kone's level is currently being assessed before a decision is made on whether he is ready to contribute more often to the first team. A loan or another season spent predominantly with the under-21s are both still options. So in terms of actually looking at Kone at the moment and Leon, United clearly have the players that they think have got the capabilities of making it into the first team, but they are being assessed to see if they can contribute significantly enough to it. So it's going to be an interesting one to keep an eye on in terms of who stays in the squad. I think a lot of this will be determined in terms of, like, if United don't bring many other players in, are there going to be any youth players that get given more of a chance? Now, obviously, you want the academy player to earn his spot through playing well into the first team. You don't want him to just be drafted in simply because there's no one been brought in a transfer window. We've done this before, and we brought players through at the wrong time, and it's kind of derailed their progress and given them this belief that they've already made it. How many players are we going to talk about that have done that already at Manchester United? There are quite a few, and everybody knows who they are. But I think United are looking at the academy level here and taking it seriously, maybe. A lot more seriously than they have done before, I think, in not bringing them through too soon. And I think Amorim is the driving force behind this. He wants to see something that is, I feel, genuine in terms of progress and quality for them to come through. And we've seen this before when he didn't take a certain amount of players away to a European game, when he could have brought a load of academy players in. He didn't want to take them because he didn't believe it was the right call to make. He didn't want them to think that they had already made it as such and they were just in the first team squad already. I think that was the smart move from Ruben Amorim on that one. I think that does make sense. Super chat in from Pete says, Ineos involved in F1 and cycling. You'd think they focus on speed in their actions. P.S. Surprise, Jim Radcliffe hasn't got Mbeumo yet. The money he'd save on shampoo. I like it. I do. I like little jokes. Make fun of the situation where we're at. We need to make light of it. Otherwise we go under, mate, won't we? Cheers for that, Pete, buddy. Another comment in from Mark. Gets all the sales in towards the end of the window and go and get Sesko. Do we believe that Sesko is actually the right type of player and the right quality of player that we need right now? I think that's been a debate that we have had going for a while on Forever United TV. And not many people have been convinced that Sesko is the answer, to be honest. I can understand it, why, as well, because he's a player that's been out in Germany for the last few years now, still only 22. And it's that unproven Premier League aspect again, isn't it? And I get that. And I think that is a big part of all Manchester United's transfers right now, which is why I think Watkins is ahead of him. I do believe Ollie Watkins is ahead of Sesko in the thinking of United at the moment. And that does, for me, show, like what the comment said earlier on, a pivot away from the original plan for Manchester United in terms of bringing the younger players in. I think there has to be a blend. And I think they're realising this now. Prem-proven players in their prime cost a fortune and a massive premium. Getting some in that are just towards the back end, maybe, still in their prime, haven't got many years on their careers as the others have. Maybe they could still be a threat, and maybe they could still contribute for Manchester United. We'll see on that one, won't we? But let's just let's concentrate, I think, now on the real reality, which is getting the players out that we need to after getting Mbeumo in. They're the ones that we need to be looking at. The striker option people will keep on talking about, but I don't think it's going to get any closer. Not this month anyway. And maybe in August we will see some movement on that. I think August is going to be very busy for Manchester United. But I think when Mbeumo comes in, if the reports are right, and that's United want to get him in before the tour, we'll see. 5 days to go until that happens, like we said earlier on. Then we'll look at moving Sancho on. It does look like Sancho is about to leave Manchester United, everybody, as well. And it is getting closer and closer and closer. All of the reports from last night were leading down the same road. His agent was in Turin yesterday. Apparently, everyone is saying, apart from Romano, and I'll always say that to make sure that we're on a balanced look on this here, but every other journalist out there right now is saying that personal terms are agreed with Jadon Sancho. And by I mean everyone reporting on this one, who has been reporting on this one recently from Italy's side of things. Personal terms agreed, and United are now discussing with Juventus on that price. Expected to be in and around 50 million plus add-ons so far. That might not be true. United could always just say, no, we want this much. This could happen. It really could. United could come in and just scupper this. Quickly, on Mike Critchley's piece as well on the academy players and younger players, there's a piece here on Vitek. Andre Onana's injury has raised the question of whether Radek, Vitek or Eli Harrison would be ready to deputise during pre-season. A discussion is still going on. It'll be interesting to see which of the academy players actually comes in and actually does feature in goal for Manchester United on this tour, because there will be someone. There always is. Just to go through everything that Romano said regarding the Bryan Mbeumo situation last night as well. I didn't bring up Romano's piece on Mbeumo. We talked about what everyone's saying this morning off the back of what The Guardian and Jamie Jackson said about Brentford upping their bid. This is what Romano has said. For Richard Romano, update on Bryan Mbeumo signing in time for pre-season tour. An update on his replacement, Amari Hutchinson. They still insist on their conditions, but at the same time, United remain confident. So their hope is to have the player for pre-season tour. At the moment, still in talks with Brentford and still negotiating. United remain optimistic, and player keeps waiting for United. I think Amari Hutchinson to Brentford still has a chance, yes, because the clause is expired, but Brentford want to return to the table to try and negotiate terms with Ipswich. So in terms of the Amari Hutchinson bid, that rejected by Ipswich, Brentford looking to go back in. They're obviously going to have to spend more money. I think Romano here is probably putting two and two together, saying maybe a deal with Mbeumo will move forward now, so Brentford can crack on basically with their pre-season, because they're not moving very far at the moment in terms of their progression in bringing players in to their squad. So I think Romano there is just covering all bases again. He's being very general and he's being open about everything. Splinters on his ass basically, covering all hedging bets and everything. Please give the video a like if you haven't already. First time I've asked on the show today, and we have already got over 500 likes. Love that. So if you're loving the content, please pop a like on the video, everybody. Make sure that you have also hit the subscribe button as well. We're getting closer to the 91,000 mark. We have got the 100,000 silver play button in our sights, and we are chasing it down strong. Thank you again, everyone who has already subscribed to the channel. It's totally free to like the video and obviously subscribe to the channel, and it helps the channel out massively. So if you haven't already, please do so. Again, people asking about my retro shirts. If you love this shirt, the link is in the live chat. To go grab yourself one, dead cheap, around about 15 quid for this shirt. Great quality as well. Loads of mock-up special shirts as well on the site. Go check them out, everybody. Fill your boots there. Great deals going on. England are playing in the Euros tonight. Is anybody watching it? 8 o'clock kickoff. We have some specials on Match Bingo going on right now. Our match day sponsors here on Forever United TV. So please do get involved. Scan the QR code on the screen. Download the app. Deposit yourself £5 into the account. You have to be 18 and above and a UK resident to play. So download the app, deposit £5. You will, as a new customer, be automatically given another £10 on top of that. It's only £2 a game. So make the game more exciting and play a match bingo while the game is actually going on. All you do in the game is wait for certain match events like you will be waiting for numbers in the bingo hall. You get a corner, you get a goal, you get a free kick, something in a certain minute, a substitution or a VAR decision. All the numbers get knocked off. You get 25 quid a line. If you get the jackpot, upwards of 200 quid for a £2 ticket. And we have had many winners in our chat here on Forever United TV on Match Bingo. I have got an update on Match Bingo coming this weekend as well, everybody. So stay tuned for that one. Anyone who has downloaded the app already, you have got some promos coming your way. So stay tuned for that. And of course, they will be doing the Manchester United Leeds game this weekend as well. The first one of, can we say, pre-season that United have been involved in. Finally, football is back this weekend. It seems close now. So, yeah, download the app before the game this weekend as well, everybody, to get involved in the specials. Thank you, everyone involved in the show. Another super chat right at the end there from Mark. Thank you, Mark. Morning, Adam. Do you think we should sign only first-choice players in the positions we need rather than panic and do another Casemiro deal? Yep, I would not buy anyone unless it was someone that is going to feature and play week in, week out, and is who we really need. And I think this is why United are taking their time. I know that Brian Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha walk right into Manchester United's side. The only other player I would get right now for definite, that I'm 100% certain on, who's going to come in and start, is Emi Martinez. Now, if other options come up, go all in for him, by all means. But I think United should be looking at their top targets, yes. I don't want to buy make weights. I don't. I can understand Vlahovic because if he's free, then United could make money off him in the future as well. And he is better than Rasmus Højlund right now. Maybe he could help Rasmus Højlund. I'm guessing completely. But I just think United are being very, very careful. I think Mbeumo comes in, and then I'm going to say 2 more signings after that, I think. There may be a third. All depends on what United do in the loans and the free market towards the back end. But this will be no commitment signings, I think, for Manchester United. Either free, loan, or it will be a play that we really want. That's how I see it going down, Mark, anyway. Thanks for that super chat, mate. Really appreciate that. I will drop the link to Match Bingo into the live chat now as well, everyone. That is there for everyone to click on, dead easy. Get involved. It is fun. You are missing out if you are not involved. We do it all the time on the match days as well here. And the season is coming, so it's the right time to do it. And on that note, we're going to wrap things up there. Thank you, everyone, for getting involved in the live chat. You all smashed it. Over 600 likes as well. Brilliant morning show to kickstart the day. I've got a feeling I'm going to send out a few messages. I've seen something come up about some big updates coming up today. I'll let you know more about that later. I don't know enough yet. I've got to send out some messages, but I will keep you posted. Stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button, please, everybody, if you haven't already, to stay tuned and up to date with everything going on at the club. And